G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff Ukraine War Update for the 11th of February 2026. Let's hope I get the date right tomorrow as well. Knockwood, of course. Knockwood, at 8. The war continues, so we'll just have a quick squint at the map here. We see that Russia has yet again hit power infrastructure over here, although it does say yesterday, 2 days ago, but there's Ukrainian news reports that the Russians followed up their strikes with more strikes, but there doesn't seem to be anything else mentioned. But there were drones, but yeah. The problem is this is a volunteer service, but you think if they're volunteers pumping out propaganda, you think they'd catch up with the rest of the propaganda. But no. Standards, quality, doing your best work. No. Why? You don't get paid more. They feel no reason to give you what you deserve because you're getting what you're paid for. Alright, so Russia has launched several probing attacks, but there's a big push coming. Now, this is based on intelligence reports that Russia has moved more equipment to the front. In addition to the equipment they've announced, right, there's already been a build-up for months. And again, this is standard in war. You always have build-ups and movement of men, machines, and equipment. But again, commentators are saying, particularly military bloggers, that Russia looks like maybe ending the winter on an offensive. Might make sense given that it would bog down Ukrainian tanks if the Russians have planned right. But of course, the Ukrainians know from rumor, the offensive is coming. You can't hide it. The Americans would have told them long before it leaked to the mainstream media that Russia was moving equipment west. And Ukraine would try to disrupt that, but they have not been successful. They have not disrupted the Russians effectively. Russia is, as you can see, shifted to and is now on Lyman. They have closed the gap here. Instead of doing the usual cauldron of surround, they're going for the straight for the throat. Now they're also pushing south here, right? Now I'm pretty sure these are just probing attacks, but they have made small advances here. But they've made advances here. I believe these are just probing attacks. Nothing of significance, although they are hitting Ukrainian positions. The Russians have made some progress here, not much. Ukraine claims to still be defending Myriad. What? They're just up here lobbing shells at them. They're not actually defending Myriad. They're punishing Myriad for welcoming the Russians, just like they're punishing the people of Vovosk for saying goodbye as the Ukrainians left. They were waving them goodbye. They did not evacuate. So they get punished for not wanting to be part of the club of pedos, sycophants, and bullies over in the fuck you. Alright, so yeah, this is all but fallen. Right, little bits here and there, nothing significant on the Western Front. But they are grinding away, falling asleep, grinding away, not making progress, grinding away, and just more general grinding without. And again, Zaporozhye is their favourite target today, this week, although Dnipro has still got some love. Of course, they love Dnipro. Ukraine has actually accused the Russians of trying to destroy Dnipro. Yeah, if they were trying to destroy Dnipro, you would know it. Yeah. Optical tracking, outdated technology. This is just cope, right? When you're running low on funds, you start. This is all. Learn this equipment, right? You really think this is real? Yeah. You really think commanders just sitting around smoking as they're just watching? This is all PR, right? This is all PR, right? You got your 30 cal, you got your twin 50s. Oh, actually, it looks more like twin 7.62. So what are they going to shoot down with that? A butterfly? Yeah. It's all cope and seed. No, you really want a proper gun? That should be a 20 mil, not fucking bullets like this. Now that's a man's gun, not this child's tinker toy that was thrown together and say, "Look what we made." This is Junior's first Meccano set. You know, this is of course the usual propaganda, the usual. We're going to give them more money every day. It's to pledge more money, right? It's ridiculous. Right, but diplomatically, everybody's barking at each other, but nothing is getting done. Everybody's talking about sanctions, and nothing is actually getting done. So, war of words, in other words, war of hot air. Now, I'm sorry, Russia, this one time you absolutely got it wrong. US attempts to link trade to conflict unacceptable. Too bad, so sad. You fucked around in the Middle East. Now it's your turn to be fucked with, right? This is how the world works. You think you had your little games in Palestine. You had your little chuckle in Gaza, and now, right? The US is slamming his hand down on the table. Big Daddy Trump is saying, "Nope, game over, boys," and they're freaking out because they haven't achieved their goals. They're trying to drag this thing out. Too bad, so sad. You're warned. You're warned that there were red lines that you must not cross. You were told, right, that you weren't going to get everything you wanted, right? You accepted that you may not get everything you want, but yes, all you had to do was wait out Zelensky, right? And Trump would have nerfed him like a lemming, okay? Poink! Off the cliff. Woo! Ponk. Right? No. Why? Right? Why not just sit back and let US punk Zelensky? And you just go back to normal US relations. Fuck Europe. Right? The oil will flow. The dollars will flow. The euros will go. And then eventually the Europeans will say, "Help us. We're drowning in Muslims. We're drowning in Africans. We're drowning in Chinese." No. The liberation of France will begin shortly. The liberation of Ireland has begun. The liberation of UK is still sort of in the works. Right? Sweden, Denmark, Germany, they still need a bit of a kick. But Ukraine, no, there's no liberation of Ukraine. All Russia has to do is wait, right? Russia just grind to a halt, right? You're not going to get everything you want, but it's definitely going to be linked to trade. I'm sorry, that's the way the world works, right? You're just going to have to take your lumps, Mr. Rabbi Riboff, Sergey, please, be realistic, right? Leave the real diplomacy to the adults in the room. Lavrov had it handled, right? We don't need you. Now, Belarus has called out NATO for building up forces on his border. Abso-freaking-lutely, right? They said, I remember, it was 6 to 12 months ago when they were going, Belarus is building up its troops. Actually, they were increasing its border defense. And what were they doing? Building a border wall. You don't build a wall when you're going to invade someone, right? You build a wall to keep them out, right? You put up they close checkpoints and smuggling routes, right? But the Poles can't leave it alone, right? They gotta feel safe, i.e., I'm a big man, I messed with you. Right, so when Belarus messes with them back, they go, I'm triggered. So, yeah. But they have no options, right? Rapid militarization on their border is not a good thing. Look, NATO is most likely going to back down. They're a very good parade ground army, right? But the only time I'm worried is when we hear that the US forces are building up, because then we know shit is on. And speaking of shit is on, we may soon be covering the Mexico-US war, and I, for one, feel sorry for my friends in Mexico and hope you get to the right side of the border. Either Panama or, whether you go to Panama, Honduras, or to the US, I really do. I honestly pray for my Mexican friends. But you got to understand, right? It's like living in most countries. You don't pick where you're born. You don't pick your parents. And most definitely, right, the geopolitics today was picked like... I'm a Gen X. And the politics was thrust upon us. We didn't vote for this shit. Do you think when Putin came to power, he was talking about rebuilding the Russian economy? They were friends with Ukraine and talking about joining NATO and dismantling... and they did. They dismantled 27 military bases. They got rid of a lot of nukes. What happened? Well, the war profiteers said, we can't have an outbreak of peace. That's what happened. But so Russia is now, of course, having to try and not just get some sort of peace deal stitched together, but they're having to deal with a attack that Ukraine's been advised by the retarded kingdom, the occupied kingdom, the other occupied kingdom, the hateful states, the Baltic crybabies who want their revenge on Russia for all the years of communism. Never mind your own part in communism, right? Or your own revolutions. I mean, we wouldn't have a revolution in Russia if it wasn't for a revolution in Ukraine. And Ukraine had many revolutions, You wouldn't have a European population crisis if it wasn't for your goddamn fucking wars. Or your goddamn fucking selfishness. Right? Oh, why have a baby? There's so many babies in the world. Well, if you weren't feeding the third world and tying it, they wouldn't be having 10 babies to get those 10 bags of rice and then sell them back to you for half the price so you give it to them and they sell it, they go turn around and sell it back to you. It's freaking ridiculous. The government corruption in Africa. All you have to do to Africa is leave it alone and it'll kill itself, right? But no, these meddlers, they're professional meddlers, right? I mean, Russia's not innocent. They're professional meddlers too. But they had a perfectly good opportunity, a 28-point plan they could have implemented regardless of Ukraine, right? They could have sat down with America and said, hey, you know what? These fucking Ukrainians won't sign the deal. So how do we get around this, right? And we stitch together a fucking border, right, and some trade deals. While we build this, and you go deal with the fucking Ukrainians while we build our border wall and make Russia great again, make American-Russian relations great again, and get the money flowing. And you'll watch the Ukrainians come begging for peace deals when they see the money flowing, because Zelensky will definitely take off his yarmulke for some money. He loves to play the Jewish card. But, yeah. Now, of course, really, Ukraine, can't get out of its own shadow. Look at that. They got a mixture of Soviet and NATO equipment. They can't, oh, look at that. Training. That's training, right? That's not real. That's a training video. That's when someone's got a gas valve, opens it up, clicks it with a lighter, steps back and says, "Okay, boys, put it out." Hiding it behind the cinder block, hiding it behind cinder blocks, right? You ever see such a quick and easy put together cinder block wall? It's not even glued together, right? Let alone concreted, right? It's not even complete. You can see where they forgot to crop the photo, right? This is a gas station, right? Probably Ukraine. They blame a Russian drone, but probably someone's smoking. Anything, right? I stubbed my toe. It was a Russian drone. The amount of blame and bullshit, right? There's now a video circulating that shows one kid at 8 funerals saying "Goodbye, Daddy." Right? It is called "Goodbye, Daddy." Right? This Ukrainian kid. At first, you don't pick it because he's wearing different clothes every time. But facial recognition claims that it's the same kid every time. Ukraine's denying it. But the height matches, the eye distance matches. And Ukraine's taken down the video of the funerals, so you can't see the originals. A lot of the war footage isn't available where I am. Look, I'll just show you, right? This is why I can't bring you war footage, right? I'd love to bring you war footage. Look at that explosion. Wouldn't you love to see that doozy, right? Probably, what, 20, 30 stories tall, right? Dwarfs any building. Look at that. Wouldn't you love to see whether or not that's a gas explosion or drone strike? That's definitely just someone smoking in the back of the car and it's set on fire, But there's one here. Oh, wait. Wants me to look at drones? No, drone strike. Here we go. Right? Boom. Big fire in Zaporozhye. That's not even Zaporozhye, by the way, but yeah. There, look. Won't let me play the videos for you. So, this is Zaporozhye. Yeah. Won't let me play the videos for you. See? Cannot be loaded. Cannot be loaded. Right? That's why I can't bring you more footage anymore. It's ridiculous. Right? The great firewall that doesn't exist, that's supposed to just keep out the undesirable misinformation. Yeah. So my government is saying that the information from Ukraine is disinformation, so I can't see it. Because they're protecting my feelings. Oh, I'm so protected. I can't complain. What's that, Dave? You got nothing to complain about? Oh no, I can complain if I wanted to, but then I have to deal with the police showing up and saying, you violated the national security laws. Misinformation. But yeah, they'll take you down for disinformation. That's why, the channel's suppressed. That and MGTOW content, We're now an official threat, everybody. I feel proud of all of you and hope you continue to be the threat to the establishment. Jolly good job. All of you, jolly good job. Keep up the good work. I have high hopes for you all to go on to be glorious leaders in the future and bring down the Roman Republic and replace it with the United States of America. Because really, it's not America anymore. It's the Roman Republic where you have the Gallians, the Assyrians, and the North Africans ruling the kingdom. And you wonder what happened to Rome. It wasn't ruled by Romans for the last 400 years of the empire, was it? Yes, the boomers cling to their liberal democracy, but it's not a democracy. It's a crony society where, you saw that Bunny show, right? You know Bad Bunny, right? There's a tape going around of Bad Bunny crying at Diddy Party. You know that's how he got the halftime show, right? Sucked up to Jay-Z and gave himself to Diddy. This is the corrupt mafia that runs the music industry. You know, it's coming to an end though, right? We're gonna sink the battleship, and we're going to plant a flag and rebuild, because that's what we do. When a society and civilizations end, we come in and rebuild. All right. So Gen Z, you're not alone. We support you. 2030 movement, big salute. All you anti-feminists out there, all you anti-war people, genuine, right? A war is a violation of your rights. Well, the government has taken away all your rights and decide that who's your enemy and what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Because once they got you into the system, it's hard to get out. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Please support the channel. Ko-Fi, Patreon, $1 a month. And buy my books, buy my merch. I appreciate each and every one of you. Welcome new subscribers, each and every one of you. Welcome the 17% of you who make it this far. Thank you. See you in the next video. And bye for now.